Katie Book Corner here, coming to you with my October wrap-up. By the way, happy Halloween. It's actually Halloween today when I'm filming this. I finished my TBR today. I finished the last book I had. So I'm going to go through the books I read in the month. And so yeah, the first book I actually listened to / read the ebook for was Renegades by Marissa Meyer. It's book 1 in her series, new recent series compared to the Lunar Chronicles. I hands down enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down / stop listening to it. I actually listened to 2 audiobooks for the month. So I enjoyed Renegades. I am looking forward to reading the second book. I think I have it down for November. Let me double check. I do. I have, I am planning to read Arch Enemies in the month of November. Sorry, it's currently the last day of October. So I plan to read Arch Enemies starting in November. After reading / listening to Renegades, I read my first classic of the month. I read a total of 4, and that happens to be Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I gave it about 4 out of 5 stars. I was very thoroughly intrigued with Anna Karenina. I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than I thought I was going to. But I couldn't put it down. I was worried I was not able to finish the book in the month, but surprisingly enough, since I read it in the very beginning of the month, I was able to pretty much finish Anna Karenina. And it was definitely something I never really thought I would read. It's definitely something I wasn't totally interested in, but as I grew up, I kind of been drawn to a little bit more of the classics. But I enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. That's how well I've enjoyed it. After reading Anna Karenina, I listened to my second audiobook of the month, and that happens to be Winter by Marissa Meyer. It's book 4 of the Lunar Chronicles. I'm sad that I finished the Lunar Chronicles. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it, and it was definitely something I didn't think I'd read. But I enjoyed it thoroughly. I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop listening to it. And it was a very long audiobook. It was like 24 hours. But I enjoyed it. After listening to Winter, I went into, in between reading Winter, I was actually reading Great Expectations. Not Great Expectations. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I rented it from my library. I borrowed it from my local library. I actually got a 2-in-1 book. So it had A Tale of Two Cities, and then after 353 pages, it went to Great Expectations. So that's why I kind of said I read both. That's kind of why I said Great Expectations. But I never read A Tale of Two Cities before. And I was always intrigued with A Tale of Two Cities from the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare, because you hear Tessa Gray and Will Heyerdahl talk about it. And so I was very curious about what the book was about. So I picked it up, I read it, I enjoyed it, I fell in love with Lucy, but I enjoyed the story. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So that was my second classic for the month. After reading A Tale of Two Cities, I read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I enjoyed it. After listening to Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell, I definitely wanted to read more of her work, which is why I picked up Fangirl. And my friend Allie talked about it because she listened to Fangirl on audio. Well, I read it through audio, and we both really enjoyed it. I believe I gave Fangirl 5 out of 5 stars. Because I really enjoyed it. I finished it on the last ever road drive. I had a long drive. My family went away for a weekend, and I read A Tale of Two Cities on the way up, finished that, and on the way back, I finished what I had left of Fangirl. And I absolutely enjoyed it. After reading between Fangirl and A Tale of Two Cities / Great Expectations, I was also reading Wicked Fox for the second time in ebook form. I didn't bring my copy of Wicked Fox with me. I sped through Wicked Fox because, yes, this was my second time reading it, but I enjoyed it. I loved the series. I'm looking forward to book 2 and being in the world in Seoul, South Korea with everyone. I'm pretty sure you can see part of my BTS poster in the wall. I'm really into K-pop and the world of Korea, South Korea at least. And North, but I enjoyed Kacho's story, so I'm looking forward to the second one. After reading Wicked Fox, I actually finished Great Expectations. It was about my second time reading it. I enjoyed it, second to third, I believe. The first 2 times I read it during high school, and it's been a couple years, but I thoroughly enjoyed reading Great Expectations and being in that world again. Dickens has a very intriguing writing. So I enjoyed it. After reading Great Expectations, I actually started The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang, which is the second book after the Poppy War, which I'll talk about after talking about Sense and Sensibility, because this past weekend there was the Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and I actually stayed up for most of the night. I only got 2.5 hours of sleep, which is good for me, but also I'm so tired. But I read Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. That was my 4th and final classic for the month. And that was actually the first book I finished in the 24-hour readathon. I didn't have to go to work until 2 that day, and so the majority of the first 3 hours of the readathon, I was actually reading Sense and Sensibility, and I enjoyed it. I like Austen's work, so I'm excited to continue reading Jane Austen. And after reading Sense and Sensibility, I picked up The Dragon Republic. So I actually had The Dragon Republic on ebook form, so that's 1,234 pages, but that's because it's on the ebook form. I think in the hardcover it's about 600 pages. I flew through the last 400 pages of this ebook. I cannot put it down. I enjoyed it. And I also happen to have enjoyed the second book more than I did the Poppy War. I think just because the first book is the backstory of everything that's happening and how the war started. But the second book, you go right back into the action with everything that's happened from the end of the first book to this book. And so I was able to get into the story so much faster than I did before. So I really enjoyed reading The Dragon Republic. And I started my last book towards the end of the readathon, just because after being woken up at 3:15 in the morning, I just tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. I ended up playing on my phone, and then I ended up picking up Carry On, Baby Rainbow Rowell. I had started the book earlier that day, and I read about 3 chapters. No, I read 2 chapters. And then I read about another 50 pages before the end of the readathon, and I continued reading, obviously, after it. But I enjoyed this book. I finished it this morning. I've been working this past week, so I didn't have too much time to read. but I didn't have to go to work until later today, so I was able to like, okay, I'm going to finish this. I have like 100 pages left because yesterday after work I read up to page like 400, so I had like 100 pages left in the book. But I was too tired after work, so I fell asleep. So I enjoyed this book thoroughly, like hands down. This is like my all-time favorite. I enjoyed Fangirl, but I also really enjoyed this. I plan to pick up, I think I'm picking it up this month. I am not, I was going to pick up Wayward Son, but, I might buy it this month, but I might not read it until December, just because November is National Writing Month, so it's NaNoWriMo, and, I'm going to be doing NaNoWriMo, so I won't have too much time to write, to read, and so I have a set of list of books that I do want to get to in the month, so I might read Wayward Son in December. But that is the last of my October books. I'm surprised it's already the end of October. Tomorrow is November and the start of NaNoWriMo. We'll see if I survive. But I have to get ready to go to bed because I have work in the morning and I have to be up early to go to work. But thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!